Yes, that's most. Yeah. So welcome to Bella and welcome, Deborah. And let's get started. So, short introduction. Welcome to everyone who's joining us today. Those who are over 50 and everyone else who is interested to know more about this wise generation. This special online conversation is hosted by the Wize Move Society, the online community for everyone who is over 50 and all those who would love to join us. So during our last summit, Boomer or Bloomer, What's Next in April, we experienced again that this generation is growing by the day. We're living longer, are longer healthy and active, and are better educated than ever. This generation is definitely not on the way out, but we're part of the future. And it was also, again, a huge wake-up call that this generation will impact in many ways our society, our economy, the workplace, our healthcare system, and so much more in the years to come. So with these Tuesday live conversations, we aim to give you a glimpse of what is happening online on the Wize Move Society, to share a bit about both the challenges and the opportunities that the over 50s are facing, as well as how the members of the Wize Move community work together to create the solutions and play an active role in society and the economy. So for those who join us on Zoom, welcome. We love you to contribute to the conversation. If you've joined us on Facebook, please share your feedback and questions in the comments. If you're listening afterwards on Spotify, on a podcast, just send us your questions and we will respond. So my name is Ingun. I'm the creator of the Wize Move Society. I'm here today with my co-host, Dr. Tatiana Rowson, and our guest, Jurek Sikorski. Jurek is the Executive Director of the Henley Centre for Entrepreneurship at Henley Business School and founder and director of Henley Business Angels. But there's more to share and he will probably do so in a minute. The topic of our conversation is the importance of the entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah. So before we do that, I would like to give my co-host Tatiana the floor so she can share a bit more about her background and she will pass on the stage to Jurek. So Tatiana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ingun. So hello, everyone. I'm Tatiana Rowson. I'm a psychologist, academic and researcher interested in midlife and beyond. I'm really focused on those transitions that happen at this stage and how can we manage our life in a way to get the most out of it. So in the search of the fulfilling careers later on, in the age, as we were saying offline, of no retirement. So with that in mind, it's a pleasure to have Jurek here with us. Jurek is someone that I know well, so I know how this hour is going to fly by because we have a lot to talk about and he has a wealth of experience to share. And I'm not going to say any more, Jurek, because I'll leave that to you. You'll be a better presentation of yourself than I could ever do. And I'll pass the mic to you. So welcome to the conversation.
Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you for that introduction and to Ingun as well. I'm delighted to be here. I'm in good spirits today, full of life. Still to reach that age of 25 where I can draw on experience. But joking aside, it is a real pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. A very good afternoon to you all. So as we were discussing before we started, I'm in a portfolio career. I describe myself as a pluralist, meaning I have a portfolio of roles that include being a mentor, investor, chairman, advisor, consultant, even an educator, meaning that I deliver lectures at the Henley Business School. And that's my primary role today, which is being the Executive Director of the Henley Centre for Entrepreneurship, a role that I share and co-lead with my colleague, Professor Andrew Godley. So what is it that I do currently? Well, many things. I tend to get involved in everything that's going on, not just in the business school, but across the university, anything that has anything to do with entrepreneurship thinking, starting a business, commercializing research, just starting a business or having a business idea I get involved with. So it really comes down to four things. One is I promote entrepreneurship on campus, and that's various events, including at module fairs and open days and such like. I support teaching of entrepreneurship and delivering a whole variety of lectures for my colleagues, but I also deliver an understanding sales course for the second year undergraduates. For me, sales is what makes the world go round. It's what somebody actually does in providing a solution to a problem. This happens when somebody sells something to someone. That's a maxim that I often drop into and utter when talking about sales. More a little bit later on. The second thing that I'm involved with is coaching and mentoring students and alumni who are pursuing entrepreneurship. And I deliver a whole range. When I say I'm talking about the team, which I have the privilege and pleasure of leading and being part of that team. We deliver a range of extracurricular activities that include the weekly business idea and startup clinic, the Idea Fest student business idea competition, the Henley Summer Startup Bootcamp, an entrepreneurship hub, which is a co-working space for students, which they occupy in developing their business ideas. As already mentioned, I have the privilege to lead the Henley Business Angels that invest in startup businesses started by entrepreneurs that are in some way connected with the business school or the university. To date, in the last 5 years since the Henley Business Angels was launched, we've invested in 35 and likely to be 36 before the end of this week companies, helping them achieve their ambitions to deliver solutions that in some way will improve people's lives, that will enhance society in some way and address some of the challenges that this world faces. I also thirdly engage with small and medium-sized enterprises across the Thames Valley, enabling them to access the technical and commercial skills of our faculty, our staff, and not to forget students. We have some very talented students that I learn from as much as they get involved in helping me to deliver some of the answers that companies, small and medium-sized companies, are looking for when they get in contact with the Henley Business School. And we do that through a whole range of different events, including having our own Henley Talks on Enterprise Development and Leadership Insight panels that we host from term to term. And finally, I partner with many different organizations and representative bodies across the Thames Valley. That includes the Thames Valley Local Enterprise Partnership. This is a public-private partnership looking to enhance and build on the economy of the region. And something we're very proud of, because we have full employment in our region and we are second to London in terms of the wealth, the economic wealth that we actually generate. That's pretty much what I do. My career, I started out and that shouldn't surprise you now, with a pharmaceutical company in a sales role, which I took on with great enthusiasm and fervor and enjoyed enormously. It certainly allowed me to progress my career through sales, into sales management, business development, and finally into general management. And following that career with Big Pharma, I switched. I took on an entrepreneurial role. I joined together with 3 other people at that time. This was going back to the mid-1980s. The marketing director of the Boots company that you might be familiar with, a leading global scientist in his field, and a clinical chemistry pathologist, and we launched a company called Boots Celtic. It is a medical diagnostics business that commercialized a major discovery from the Medical Research Council here in the UK. And this particular technology was monoclonal antibodies. We were the first to launch a whole range of diagnostic tests using monoclonal antibodies that have since then also become therapeutic agents. And from my recollection, 4, maybe even 5 of the top pharmaceutical selling products in the world are monoclonal antibody based today. And what I enjoyed most of all was building. And that's been my philosophy, that's been my practice to build. I had also the good fortune in subsequent years to lead 3 other market listed pharmaceuticals and biopharmaceutical companies. Latterly, it was joining a founding team to launch a medical devices business, which we had the great pleasure to build into a global operation and float on the London Stock Exchange, the AIM market of the London Stock Exchange. So I was very proud of that. Now, the one thing that I'm leading up to is, and a question I'm sure you will be asking is, okay, well, what have you learned from all of that? And in that last 40 plus years, well, many things, including being humble and appreciative of all the help and support that I've had along the way. But 3 things come to mind. The first one is success doesn't come down to genius, or doesn't come from being a genius, but from 3 other things. I call them the 3 Ps. And I'm sure you've come across these. Number 1 is passion. This often uncontrollable emotion that you have to achieve things. Passion. Be passionate, okay? I wish I had a pill. I could market a pill to say, if you take one of these, your passion will go through the roof. Passion really is so important, because it's what you love to do, and you will naturally passionate about something. And we all have a passion in life, but without continuing on passion, the other 2 are persistence. In other words, never ever giving up. The biggest weakness, as Thomas Edison had said, was giving up. The surest way, the most certain way to succeed in life is to give it one more try. Okay, learn from everything that went beforehand, but give it one more try. Be persistent. If you believe in something, be persistent. And the third thing, linked to success and why it isn't a function of being a genius, and that can be defined many different ways, is persuasion. Persuasion, the ability to sell, and arguably selling is the most important activity any business undertakes or conducts. Indeed, we all sell every day, all of us, without exception. We sell an idea to our partner, okay? We may sell a proposition. We may sell an idea for a research project. The list goes on. It isn't just about selling products and services. We all sell every day, and our success in achieving our ambitions and what we want out of life, the fulfillment we want from life, comes down to persuasion and being good at selling. And for me, selling skills are singly the most important skills of all. And that comes down to being able to ask good questions and listening to the answers, amongst other things that are encapsulated in that word called communication. So that's the first thing I've learned, that success doesn't come from genius, it comes from passion, persistence, and persuasion. I've also learned, to my cost, that success isn't final, ladies and gentlemen. It's not final, in the same way that failure is not fatal. Failure is all about learning. Failure is a teacher, and not an undertaker. I don't regard failure as failure and that's the end of it. On the contrary, I start to rub my hands and say, game on. That's when it starts, because you've collected an awful lot of knowledge that will help you do things better and achieve more as a direct result of that learning. So the second thing that's come from my career, and specifically my roles in sales, marketing, business development, and general management, most of my years have been spent in general management, is all about people. People matter most. You should give your absolute priority to people. If you're in that position of leading a team, whether the team is 2 or 3 people, whether it's a formal team constituted under the organizational structure or an informal group, whether it's a department or whether it's the whole enterprise, the whole organization. People are who you work with. People are those who you partner with, and you need to partner. And I strongly always advise any entrepreneur starting a business, partner with others, because you cannot bring all the experience, all the know-how, all the connections, all the perspectives that are needed to launch a business and grow a business successfully. And I normally would always start, you need 3 people. You need somebody to take care of all the sales and marketing, the engagement with customers. In other words, you need somebody that will take care of all the operations, and that includes manufacturing, product development, and similar, all the things that are going on in the background to support that engagement with the customer. And finally, what you need is that perspective, which is so very important to us all, and that is finance. You've got to know the money, how you make it, what your costs are, and whether you're making a profit. And you need to be constantly looking at the finances, and you need a finance expert on tap working with you. So those are the 3 roles that you need to maximize the chances of succeeding. My point B is not to move away from that important point of people, because people are essential. People, for me, inspire me every day. Every day. And I have role models, as I'm sure you've got role models. And I always tap into their communications and others that are in my network, in order to be inspired by something they've done, something that they've learned, something they're going to do, an insight that they have. That's what I always love. And I love to ask the questions, you know, what do you see here? What is happening? How do you assess something? So those insights are very important, and they come from people. And finally, people for me are what makes things happen. Okay, if you don't make things happen, the world is a very poor place. You can't just be debating things and talking intelligently about things. You need to make things happen, and people make things happen. That's why for me, my biggest learning is people throughout, and all those aspects that I've just described. And the third thing that I'll take away, sorry, was that a signal to stop?
Well,
I've got one more thing. I've got one more
okay.
thing. I promise there'll be one more thing, and then we'll open it up to questions. The third thing that I take away as a learning from my experience, and this comes on to the topic of this seminar, this webinar, is developing an entrepreneurial mindset, which is just a state of the mind that orientates human behavior towards entrepreneurial activities and outcomes, is key for success. And as I mentioned previously, fulfillment of your career, in business, and in life. And there are 10 very specific aspects of the entrepreneurial mindset that I was going to talk about, but I'm just going to take a breath now and hand back to you, and I can talk about those, some of those, one of those, whichever you would like me to talk about.
Absolutely. You know, I love to listen to you, and we already talked last week, so I already learned much more. But before you really dive into Wimbledon and all the other things, let's see. And before I continue, I also want to welcome Nicolette and Mary Jane, who joined us. Yes, I did want to move into that entrepreneurial mindset, because that is very important. Of course, you talk about a lot of things that you do right now, and that is also mostly working with students and startups, and on the Henley Business School. Of course, we work with the 50+ generation, you know, the older generation. If you will, first of all, why is that entrepreneurial mindset so important? And I think it's important for everyone to develop that at any age, in any role. So why? And the other thing is, what do you see different between those students that you work with and that older generation?
Very good questions. So let me answer the first one. Why is the entrepreneurial mindset important? It's important for one reason, because it will define success. However you define success and however you see success, whether it's launching a business, generating that first sale, growing it to become a sustainable business, however you define success, the entrepreneurial mindset is crucial for that. So to succeed in your career, to succeed in your ambition, to succeed in life, the entrepreneurial mindset is absolutely essential. Let me give you some aspects of what I mean by entrepreneurial mindset, so it isn't just a catchphrase or an academic phrase that is bandied around. It means something to me. So what does it mean to me in terms of the characteristics? So when you're of an entrepreneurial mindset, you are seen as somebody, number one, who takes action. It's important. I speak to many entrepreneurs during the week, and the week for me is Monday through to Sunday. It revolves every day. And their message to me is always do something, do something. Most importantly is go and talk to your customers. We all have customers. Tatiana and I have a customer at the Henley Business School. I don't bow to anyone who says that they are not our customers. Students are our customers. Okay, end of conversation. No debate for me. They are our customers. We need to serve them. We need to serve them in such a way they have a great student experience, that they will go out and preach the word and tell others that Henley is the business school, or the University of Reading is the university to go to. And what I stress when I talk about you take action, you're not prone to analyzing the situation to the nth degree. In other words, rather than spending all that time analyzing, creating charts, modeling, we love to model with the latest IT technology, writing plans and so forth. You can do that and continue to do that, but you've got to actually take some action, okay? Because it's through action that you actually create value. And my message here is, don't fear and avoid risk of what might happen if you did take action, because very often that stops you taking the action because you fear the consequences of making a mistake, of failing, of it costing too much and not getting the return on investment. Well, look, just take the action, because the thing that comes from taking the action is a learning. So I'm saying don't fear or avoid risk. And here's an important thing that I quote Dennis Waitley, who is an American motivational speaker, writer, blah, blah. He says, life is inherently risky, okay? There is only one big risk in life, and that should be avoided at all costs. And that's the risk of doing nothing.
Yes, I love that.
That's the risk of doing nothing, because you've spent all your time analyzing, conducting research, drawing charts, and all the rest of it. Do something. I like to do something if it feels right, looks right, and I can convince myself that it's the right thing to do. I'll do it, and then I'll analyze it, right? The second thing about the entrepreneurial mindset is you've got to be resourceful. You've got to be resourceful. The successful entrepreneur never has exactly all the resources needed, but somehow they figure it out of how they would do it and how everything will work out. Ultimately, for me, that's what being an entrepreneur is all about, is being resourceful. It's not about having enough resources to do something. It's about being resourceful with the resources that you have. Right? So for me, it's being resourceful is what the entrepreneurial mindset is all about. The next one is looking out for new and better ways of doing things. oh my goodness me, there's just so many opportunities to find things that you can do better, and you should go after them, and you should be looking out for new and better ways of doing things. And I heard an entrepreneur only a couple of weeks ago talk in terms of finding new and better ways of doing things when he said, I wish my employees would get into more trouble so that I know that they're actually looking out for new and better things to do, and they're actually doing something, right? And I thought he couldn't have summarized it better. The next thing that defines the entrepreneurial mindset is you welcome change, and there's a lot of change in the world. There's change to the pestle forces that you'll be familiar with, change in how customers buy and sell, how they buy, their purchase behavior. We know the migration from offline to online buying, and various other sub-trends that are happening. There's change in how competitors sense and serve and satisfy their customers. The only thing that is constant in this world, ladies and gentlemen, is change. So welcome change. Change brings opportunities, more change, more opportunities, and finding and exploiting opportunities where others find chaos, confusion, contradiction, crises, right? Never let a good crisis go to waste. There's lots of opportunities, right? In crises, and we should go after those opportunities. So welcome change is a key one. The next one is you love a challenge. When confronted with problems that give rise to a challenge, the challenge of solving those problems, many employees, and there is a difference between employees and entrepreneurs, although many employees can become entrepreneurs. More of that later if we've got time. But solving these is absolutely crucial. But many employees often pass the buck and just avoid the challenge of solving the problem. I'm sure all of us will have examples of that. Entrepreneurs, on the other hand, or people with the entrepreneurial mindset, whether they're starting businesses or not, will rise to the challenge of solving that problem. That's an entrepreneurial mindset. We all encounter problems every day. So look at how you've addressed those problems, how you've solved them. That's the entrepreneurial mindset at work, as opposed to, oh, he's responsible or she's responsible for this, and we'll pass it over to them. The important thing to say is that those challenges motivate entrepreneurs to work harder, and those with the entrepreneurial mindset to work harder. And the entrepreneur doesn't think that anything is insurmountable. They will just face the challenge head on and embrace it and respond to it. If it has to do with solving a problem, they'll solve a problem. The next thing about the entrepreneurial mindset is that you recover very quickly. Now, there is a popular notion amongst entrepreneurs and investors today that successful entrepreneurs fail fast, they fail often, and they fail cheap. Okay, and when I recall those famous words of Thomas Edison, who said, "I've not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work," when he was on the entrepreneurial path to discover the incandescent light bulb, right? And he learned every time, but eventually he succeeded. And as I mentioned earlier, we shouldn't think of failure as the opposite of success. It is feedback, it's a stepping stone to success. And that's the way that Thomas Edison had described it. But here's the important thing when I say you need to recover quickly. I found that the trick is the speed of recovery. If you fail, resist that urge to mope, to feel sorry for yourself, to wallow in self-pity. Oh my goodness, just get up and do it again, and but change what you're doing to find that solution, because you're now wiser, because you've got more knowledge from the last experiment or the mini experiment that you run, that we call them the mini experiments. And as I mentioned earlier, Thomas Edison, when he said our weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to success is try one more time. And he's got a whole list of successes. And today, everything that we see invariably goes back to Thomas Edison and his inventiveness and his invention strength and the light that he brought to the world through. That wasn't meant to be a pun, but the point being is he brought many discoveries, including the forerunners of telecommunications, mobile telephone, even before Steve Jobs back in 1976, long before that. And the final thing, or penultimate thing, I say, you've got to be open to ideas. And that's why many successful entrepreneurs, and I myself, one of the things that I learned is it's important to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, okay, that will have ideas and perspectives that you will never have, for whatever reason, not least of all because their life has been different, their experiences have been different. But surround yourself with these smart people that will share ideas with you. And I'm always open to new ideas and to talk with people that know what I don't know. And I often find a way forward and a solution to my problem that I'm addressing by talking to them. And it's done through that very important discovery skill called associating. But because by talking through networking, amongst other ways in which you talk with people, you're able to find ways and solutions to your particular problem that you wouldn't have been able to find working by yourself. And I will always say, I will echo finally to say that Steve Jobs had said that the single most important thing for him was it was one of many. He calls them, or at least Walter Isaacson in his book Steve Jobs, published back in October 2011, which I recommend to everyone to read. One of the imperatives that he pointed out was just this: focus. You can't do everything. Focus, be good at the things that you love to do, be the best. And that can only be achieved by focusing, because you can't do everything. So that's pretty much it as far as entrepreneurial mindset is concerned. And I will just put a little sprinkle on that entrepreneurial mindset by saying there's one other characteristic, and that is demonstrating emotional intelligence. This is a word or words that are used in conversation that I've heard. And I often wonder, do you know what that means? Is this just a cliche or some language that you want to use to impress others that you're speaking with? Because emotional intelligence actually means something. In simple terms, it's obviously the ability to be able to perceive and manage emotions, yours and others, in such a way that will benefit both. But here's the thing, you'll see emotional intelligence in practice when you show authenticity, number one. What do I mean by that? Very simply, it means saying what you mean and meaning what you say. That's being authentic. That's what emotional intelligence is. It's also benefiting from criticism. Criticism is a chance to learn. Invite criticism. I love criticism, as I think I mentioned last time, and I mentioned to all those moderators and chairs of webinars that I have the privilege to talk at. I would say, look, give me the criticism, because criticism is, for me, is going to help me to do better next time. And that's highly valuable. It's more valuable than saying, you've done a great job, fantastic presentation. Yeah, really, what I'm after is criticism, because I can be better. The next one, when it comes down to emotional intelligence, empathy.
Is this also a list of 10? Is this also a list of 10 or not? This is
a list of 10 under emotional intelligence. But I'll stop there, because let me just finish on that. You have to empathize. You have to empathize. It comes back to people. You need to understand how others are thinking, how they're feeling. And you need to relate to that. And you've got to be able to question and listen in a sensitive way that helps you to empathize, because empathizing is one of those characteristics of emotional intelligence. In the same way as being apologetic, forgiving and forgetting, praising people. These all define emotional intelligence, which is this is the cream on the cake of the entrepreneurial mindset, just to put everything into perspective. I'll stop there.
It's really, and I know you haven't answered the part of the 50 plus, but I'm going to.
Oh yes, 50 plus. 50 plus.
Wait. Yes, you can.
That will only take half an hour, I promise.
The very short version, because a lot of the things that you just mentioned is, that is for everyone. But the very short version, what the difference is between the young ones and those who start a business or develop their entrepreneurial mindset later in life.
Yeah. Okay, well, those, when we talk about the over 50s, and I speak from personal experience as well as talking to many, and I do talk to quite a few, the over 50s will have many formidable assets and capital which younger people don't have. What are those capital? Human capital. In other words, the fact that they understand the way we as humans live, work, what we aspire to, and everything about the human person. It comes back to people, okay? The second one is social capital, meaning you have huge networks, whether they are on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and yes, TikTok is for over 50s as well, okay? Yes. It's not for teenagers. There is now a new part of TikTok called TikTok for Business. And we can all benefit by also having a presence there and having a network. My point being is social capital means having networks. When you're starting out in life, you're a student, just graduated, what networks do you have? Networks that count, that are going to help you succeed in life and in your career, right? You don't have very much. You have your immediate friends from school, from university, but look, you don't have the sorts of networks with businesses and business leaders. And I always encourage, do always reach out to business leaders. Don't pitch, but share something with them that they will find of value. And a simple response from them, thank you for sharing with me, Deborah or Nicolette or Tabello or Jurek. You've just connected with a very important person. So never, ever pitch when you first approach somebody. You offer them something that they will find of value, which means you do some research on them beforehand. But anyway, my point being is social capital is so very important. Young people don't have what older people have. And when I compare where I was at 60, and by the way, I'm happy to hold up my hand and say I'm almost 72. So this is where you all come in and say you don't look a day over 50, right? But my point being is, when I look back when I was 60 and 50 and 40, I thought, wow, what a diminishing social capital that I have. And human capital in not understanding people. This is why I talked about emotional intelligence to the extent that it's important to empathize. And the third thing that we have, the older people have, is maybe not always, but many of us have, and that's financial capital. We may have paid off our mortgage. Our children may have grown up and left, and we are now pursuing our own interests, and we've got a bit of cash, and we can do that, right? And starting a business has got to be on the agenda as something that you can do. And the first place that you look to is, what do you love to do? I'll guarantee that what you love to do, you can turn into a business. I haven't found anything with anyone who says, I love to do this, right? And my response will be, okay, let's turn it into a business if you haven't done so already. So those are the three capital. To answer that question, it's capital: human, social, and financial capital. that younger people don't have. Leverage those three things. It will make a huge difference. It really will.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love it that most of what you've been sharing also with the mindset, that it is very aligned with the entrepreneurial program that we will be bringing starting September. So that is really great. Thank you for that. I am going to pass on to Tatiana, because I know the others are, just, wanting to ask questions, respond to what has been told. Tatiana.
No, I think it's brilliant. Thank you, Jurek, for bringing all these things together and all those different points. I think it's been really a rich conversation, and it's interesting to see how that entrepreneurial mindset actually can be even more capitalized at a later stage of life. And that is so against the stereotype people have, that is the entrepreneur is the young person that's so creative. Actually, creativity is overrated. If you find something you love, if you've got the network, and then you can actually make that happen. And I think where we are, and this is what part of my research say, we are in a stage of society now that we need to use it, that resource that's out there. We need to push people, set the business, work, generate jobs, do something interesting and so on, and actually capitalize on the fact that we are healthy and we are living longer, and we can contribute.
Absolutely. And you've got at least, well, I'm not going to even put an age limit on it. There's still many years to go after 50 that you can launch a business. The most successful entrepreneurs, yes, there is a peak between the ages of 30, 35 and 55, okay? But there is a long tail also. This is successful entrepreneurs who started a business at that age. There are many that have started a business over the age of 50, when they were 50 or more, because they were able to leverage all the capital that I talked about earlier, and they were able to connect that with something that they really love, that they've always wanted to do. So for example, my wife's got several side hustles. She loves to design and decorate the home. So she's launched a business, and and she does it for friends, only for friends, and referrals by friends. So she can go into a house and say, I have this perception. She can sketch out 3 or 4 different things. She doesn't do gardens, but she does the house, and they just contract her to do that. And it's all word of mouth. She doesn't even have a website, and I can't persuade her yet to have a website, because with a website, she fears, and I don't know why she fears, that there'll be a lot more inquiries and a lot more business, and she just likes to spend all her time with her horses and riding. Anyway, I'm digressing. But yes, you can still start a business over, and should, and I strongly recommend, because there are many years remaining after you've reached 50, where you can start, grow a business, make it sustainable, and look life in the face and say, I actually have contributed something, and this is my legacy.
This is fantastic. It's interesting. Last week I was in a conference, and it was a social research conference. So sociologists, I'm not a sociologist, but I flirt with sociology. We all like to see the problems in society. So there you are. There was someone presenting this paper on self-employment after the age of 50, and they said, you know what, we're expecting to find all bad news, but actually people are really happy. They can manage their time, they're doing what they want, they getting an income, they have some autonomy. And they said actually the things that are coming out of the research are much more positive than they set themselves to find. And that's theirs.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I'm delighted to hear that, because I strongly believe in that. And that age range that I talked about is actually shifting to the older person, in terms of older persons starting businesses, growing businesses. But you don't have to make it a formal business. You can have what we call, I don't particularly like the phrase, the side hustle. Okay, this is serious. It isn't a hustle. It's serious. Okay, you know, you're doing something that you love to do, but you've only got so many hours to do it, and you have to manage your time. So having the time, having to manage your time because you want to do other things, having that capital that I talked about, having something that you love, you've got the ingredients to make it happen, and you don't need a lot of finance to start a business. And on the summer startup bootcamp, which we hold every June for over a whole week, we teach those students and alumni, and we've had some older people on that as well, the local entrepreneurs who are thinking about starting a business but don't know where to start, suddenly think, I've got to do this, I've got to write a business plan, I've got to set up a company, got to hire people, I've got to fill in my tax return, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't. No, you don't. We teach you how to get a sale, how to find a customer, win a customer, make a sale, collect money within a week.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the new approach that we have. The sale comes first, and you can sell off plan. The best example I can give you is builders. They sell houses off plan. Right. They haven't built them yet. They sell them, get deposits, and that helps to fund the, their building work, along with any debts that they may secure from a local bank.
It's true, Jurek, and that stopped that analysis paralysis as well, where people stay stuck on the overthinking, fear, what if I start and doesn't work, and they don't even have an email address yet, never mind starting on anything.
Well, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And well, look, you can today, a website, creating a website will enable you to get started much quicker and make a sale very, very, very quickly. And some of the things that we teach in terms of how to approach a customer via Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever it might, LinkedIn, of course, not to forget LinkedIn, that you can create your own website, and very professional website for nothing. For zero. You don't have to pay anyone to create a really extraordinary, professional, sales-oriented website. For nothing.
Yeah.
You probably know that already, Tatiana. So
yeah, I do. For the benefit of our audience.
Yeah. Well, you do need to know where you're good at and you're not good at. So I have a very good website developer in India. That's the good thing about working international. And we have some great examples of people also in our own network. Han, who is 85, who's building apps. And
brilliant.
Yes,
brilliant.
He's really fantastic. And, I was talking to a couple this week. He's 80, a physician, and she's 65. They're thinking about moving from New York to the Netherlands to build a clinic here. So not just to do a side hustle, they're going to build a clinic here.
It's serious, absolutely, it's serious.
It is there. And these, if you're, 50, you still have to work until midnight, live into your 90s. So.
Well, exactly. So that's the
get
point.
Out of your chair and do it.
Yeah. And even starting
Anyone
a business.
Else?
Even starting a business at 90, you can say, my children will benefit by this. I will start this, but you got to carry it on. Yes. And there's nothing that will motivate children any more than doing it for your parents. At least most of them, not necessarily all of them, most of them.
Mine have their own businesses, so that's good. That's good for them. Nicolette, Bello, any questions? Because I am aware of the time.
I really like your energy and all the positiveness, but when you were saying about the over 50s, I'm then trying to fast forward, let's say 20 years. So the current generation, who then will be 50, and I think their financial position was probably the way it's going now, not going to be the same as the current generation. So that capital, the human social, yes, but the capital might be an issue. And I think actually a lot of people have to keep on working. It's not even going to be a choice, and so it's not for everyone then to actually start a business. That's actually why I was trying to say. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, a very good point that you raised. I would say carry on working. If you're in that position, you will know you're in that position, and you will want to carry on and need to carry on working. I would say carry on working, because that will bring you the financial capital that I talked about. So start something that initially you can spend no more, let's say, than 3 days, 2 hours each day on a Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, let's say. So choose something that you can actually do in that time frame, and no more. Okay, so you've got to. One of the things I mentioned earlier about the entrepreneurial mindset is focus. Focus on the one thing that you need in order to make your venture a success, given that you only have, let's say, 6 or 8 hours a week, because you're working full time. But here's the other advantage. You might be able to leverage what you have access to at your place of work to help you with your business, right? And if it can be set up in such a way where it's synergistic, meaning your full-time job can help your startup and your startup can help the full-time business. Because I will argue that all the things that I do outside of business school, not least of all chairing companies, actually helps the business school, because I can talk about experience or from experience.
Yeah, it's actually one goes hand in hand with each other.
Exactly, they go together. They go together, and you make it go together. You find a way to make it go together.
And actually, that's something. Coming back with some Wize Move Society, I think many people still think about retirement as it is like 67 and I'll stop. So I think it's actually also, well, you say you're a lecturer. I think the teaching or the educating population in general, the fact that we all live longer, which means we have to work longer, and a lot of people want to live longer but not work longer. I think there's still a lot to gain. And
absolutely, and I feel they just need a spark. So if you know anybody like that and you feel that they can contribute, one of the things that we say, we go through a whole list. I promise I'm not going to go through the whole list of ways in which you can start for nothing. And that is, if you know somebody, you can invite them and say, can you come and join me and do this thing? You'll love it, you'll enjoy it. And they will. If they're retired and they're of the description that you've given, that they are retired as the traditional word suggests, and not doing anything, they can come and work and do a few hours with you that can actually help you launch your business.
I do a lot of coaching in the semi-retirement and retirement, and I've got a lot of people basically with the entrepreneurial mindset. But I'm also aware, and that's made for another discussion, that's very much also the middle class people, knowledge workers. So I'm thinking, but you've got, of course, a whole traditional set of, let's say, vocational skilled workers. I wonder how much that's, you can be a plumber, but you can't be a whole life on your knees, so to speak, behind pipes and stuff.
Well, you're right in your observation. I just see an opportunity there, and for me, any challenge that is presented as a result of identifying or recognizing a problem, problems are all brilliantly disguised opportunities. Every one of them. I don't care whether they're small problems or large problems. They're just brilliantly disguised opportunities. Yeah. So if you find a problem, like whether it's, so I'll give you an example of one of the companies that I chair, a company called MedicSpot. They have addressed the challenge of people not being able to see their general practitioner by launching a telemedicine business where you can have a consultation, video consultation like this, and also a physical examination, which you might say, how do you do that on a visual network? Very easy. They've converted what essentially is your TV with simple instruments that you can buy, much as you would buy, as an attachment to your mobile telephone.
Oh, wow.
And you can measure everything from you've got an otoscope that looks at, you can put a pointed in the ear and the doctor can actually see it. He's online. Let's say you're the doctor. I'll take an otoscope, which is connected to the TV. You can put it into your ear and the doctor can actually see what's in your ear. Say, I can see it's inflamed. You need an antibiotic. The antibiotic will be emailed. The prescription will be emailed to your local pharmacy. And before this call is finished, you can go and pick it up. It's another thing. And that's a problem. And it started out with a problem where GPs, you can't get to see your GPs, but there's lots of problems. Yeah. There's lots of problems that, ill health, poor education, poverty, homelessness, waste of every description, right? The list goes on. Every one of those problems is an huge opportunity. You just got to focus on that and think about it and come together with one or two other people and just do a brainstorm. That's the best way to come up with ideas.
Yeah, I think an entrepreneurial mindset for the things you listed. I think in general, people in it's not just being an entrepreneur, but in general, you should focus for ideas. I think it's quite generic for all employees, actually.
Absolutely. We all have a modicum of entrepreneurial mindset. It's how do we feed that? How do we bring that out to the front? How do we make that define everything that we say, do, see, and act? Yeah. It's for everyone. The entrepreneurial mindset is for everyone. It's not just for the entrepreneur who is seen as the quintessential entrepreneur starting a business. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Nicolette. That was excellent.
Tabello, just short, anything that you want to add? Otherwise, we're going to do our, quick tour on what we've seen and learned. Hey, my dear.
Hi, thanks. A great session. Thoroughly enjoyed it and just, found so many nuggets in terms of what you're saying. But just something interesting that's happened to me recently. You're talking about, looking for new opportunities. And one of the things I want to say is I'm learning to use the status on WhatsApp to share what I'm doing, because now I'm realizing that many more people look at the status on WhatsApp, and that's where people are actually promoting their businesses. I didn't know that until about 3 months ago, and it's such a simple platform, WhatsApp, using the status to share what you're doing, and those interested then get in touch with you. But thank you so much for the session and the information. Really appreciated it. Thanks, Ingun.
Good luck with that. I'd love to hear how you have commercialized that on WhatsApp. That would be very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yes, I think we just short everyone. Well, Tabello already told us about her nuggets. Nicolette, anything that you feel like, yes, I want to share, except for the status on WhatsApp? I'm going to change my status right after.
Well, I'm still enjoying the C's at my status, and I don't think I want to change that one. No, the things I want to ask or say, no, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tatiana.
I would say that fantastic conversation. Thank you, Jurek, for bringing all. You gave a lot of points, but you consolidate so much knowledge in such a short space of time, clock time, that I think is being invaluable. And it's the conversation usually I have with Ingun about entrepreneurship. It is the thing. It is the thing that we all have to develop. Absolutely. And there's no escape. Otherwise, we can't quite make the most of the world out there. So I think that the message really, really resonates, and we really appreciate that. Thank you.
My great pleasure, and well said, absolutely. That's a very good summary.
Jurek, any last words from you?
Okay, I've just got these 10 points on how to start. No, I'm kidding. I do have, if you have an idea, you want to develop it, I'm happy to have a follow-up conversation, of course, be delighted to, and I can offer that to you. And in addition, if you've got a business and at some point you really want to accelerate its growth and you're seeking finance, that's a particular area of interest and strength that we have at Henley, and I'm delighted to be right there at the helm. We can help with, and that includes, of course, the Henley Business Angels, but I can absolutely share the 40 top tips on what angel investors are looking for, but that's not for today. Maybe some other time we could do that. But the point that I wanted to leave, if you've got an idea you would like to discuss it, happy to do so.
Thank you. That's a great idea. And, there were still several things on my list that I wanted to talk about. And the business angels and funding, of course, is one of the things, especially also for if you are older and you have a great idea, and to really make that happen, and you need funding, there is a challenge, yes, but anyhow, there's a challenge that can be solved. So thank you very much, Jurek. Thank you, Tatiana. Thank you, Nicolette and Tabello. And I know Mary Jane and Deborah, both also entrepreneurs. We all are, by the way. So they had to leave because they had other engagements. But anyhow, it was a great session. Thank you very much. And yes, there's still so much on the table that I feel like we need another session. But we'll talk about that. Thank you very much for so far. Thank you all who are listening also on our podcast. This is a glimpse of what we're doing on the Wize Move Society. And, you know, to bring these, especially that 50+ generation together, to develop also our entrepreneurial skills, but also not only develop, but also really get those businesses started, because we need it. We need it for yourself. We need it for your future, the future of your children, but also to create those jobs and to create solutions for challenges that we're facing right now. So love to see you on board on the Wize Move Society. Thank you all, and we'll see you all next week for the next live conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ingun.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, Natanya. Thank you all.